love him. And so I told him, honey, that's great. Tell your fucking girlfriends. Write it in your diary. Don't tell a man that. I'll give you my phone number and you can call me and tell me that instead of him, please. You're not walking into a date hoping that he likes you. You are trying to decide and figure out if you like him. If somebody sent this episode to you and said, hey, I want you to fast forward to this part, I want you to listen to this, it's because they love you. DBAD, baby. That stands for don't be a dick if you're new here. And we're not sugarcoating shit. So let's get into it, shall we? Gals, hi, how are we doing? I guess there are some guys who listen to this podcast, which is kind of interesting. If you guys want to listen to this one, then that's awesome. But this is truly for the gals. I'm taking a little pivot from the top 5 things that I learned from 2025 because I woke up in a very spicy mood and I feel like this is a topic that I'm very, very passionate about. I have a lot of qualifications on why I can speak to this topic, but we are going to talk about dating men and how to communicate with them and how to show him that your standards are all the way up here, that you do not have pick-me energy, that you are not desperate, and that you are a self-respecting, amazing woman that you are. Because I truly believe that 99% of women are so amazing. They make the best partners, the best wives, the best mothers, but they come off desperate, insecure, which makes men walk all over them. I just want to preface this, that this is not about being mean. This is about being unavailable to men's bullshit. Throughout this episode, what you need to differentiate is the difference between a high-value, high-quality man and some dusty loser motherfucker. There are things that a high-value, quality man looks for, is attracted to, and then there's things that these dusty mofos are attracted to, right? So there is a difference. We'll differentiate throughout. But I cannot tell you the amount of text messages, screenshots, FaceTimes that I have received over the last decade from my friends who are dating, they're in relationships, whatever. And they say, Gretch, how do I respond to this? What should I say? What do I do in this situation? So I do feel very qualified. Also, I have been love bombed. I've been in relationship with narcissists. I've dated the first couple dates with these dusty mofos. So I feel like I have learned a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes. And on top of that, my previous career in corporate America, my job was to literally sell to men, CEOs, CTOs, CIOs. My job was to walk in there, demand respect, and get the job done. Now, is that different than dating? 1000%. But I do feel like I just kind of understand the psychology of men to a little bit of a degree. Obviously not an expert, but I got Troy, so it's something right. So class is officially in session. We are going to talk about how to date men and be in control. I have a feeling that a lot of you are in awesome relationships, right? And perhaps this is going to be sent to someone else. I get a lot of DMs like, Gretch, I've got a best friend, I've got a sister-in-law, I've got a sister, whatever. They keep dating these dusty motherfuckers. They can't get out of it. What can I say to them? How can I make her see this? Maybe this is something that you can just send because I'm giving it to everyone as a little bit of big sister advice. If I come across blunt, I say it with love. This episode is also, well, no, just kidding. This episode is inspired by the book Why Men Love Bitches. It's written by this girl named Sherry something. It was literally written in the 80s, I think. She talks about leaving voicemails on the phone. There was no social media. There was no texting. So it's a little bit different in that regard. But it is so good. I have a recap of it at the end that I typed out. But if you haven't read it, read it. You'll take so much away from it, I promise. And also the movie, He's Just Not That Into You. Every single woman needs to watch. And you need to understand if you see yourself in any of those characters. Sherry, I think is her name. Sherry, Shelley, something like that. Why Men Love Bitches, okay? It's not a bitch like some asshole, blah, blah, blah. It is a woman who is not a doormat. She describes the difference between the two. There are doormat women, which I'll discuss, and there are bitches, okay? The bitches are the ones that the men respect, they fall in love with. I'm not saying that they can't fall in love with the doormat. Let's not take things literally here. But a quality man does not fall in love with chaos. They don't fall in love with desperation. They don't fall in love with massive insecurity. They fall in love with self-respect, boundaries, standards. That's the bitch, okay? Not the doormat. A doormat, obviously, walked all over. So I'm going to give a couple examples throughout this, but what I want you to always be thinking about is what are men used to, right? From what they've experienced in their life in high school, college, whatever, their adult life. What do they see in movies? Like, what is like the status quo? What are the stereotypes? They're used to women because they see this in movies, and it's like the stereotype of, oh, I don't care what he looks like. I don't care how he treats me. I don't care that he doesn't have a job. I don't care that he's in prison. Like, I just want to be married and I want to do this, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. That's what like the stereotype around some women is, right? They're used to insecure women who over-explain themselves, who are overly emotional, send paragraphs and paragraphs of text messages. They're so desperate for that relationship that the man like feels like they have so much control over that woman because she's so emotional, right? I'll get into it. And these men like get away with it is because women end up settling for the dusty motherfuckers, right? Here's an analogy I've told one of my friends, right? She was like, Gretch, like when I go to a bar, this was like years ago, I feel like men don't hit on me. And I'm like, gal, that's because you walk in there and you just scream self-respect. You scream that like you have boundaries. Do you think some man at a dive bar is looking for that sort of challenge right then and there? No, that dude is looking to put his wiener in something, right? So he's not looking for that. He's looking for the easy girl. I'm just being so honest. I know the world is sensitive, so I'm not saying that if you get hit on at a bar that men view you as easy. I know a lot of people in great relationships who they met at a bar. But what I want you to always remember is what a man is used to, and you are going to do the opposite because you go like this in terms of I have high respect for myself, I have boundaries, I have standards, and I have my own life, okay? Let's talk about this for a second. If you do not have your own life and your own interests and things that you love, then a man respectfully is not going to see you as the prize that you are, okay? If you are always available, if you don't have any other interests, let me give you an example, okay? You're starting to date someone and they say, hey, I'd love to take you out to dinner. When are you available? Never, ever are you saying, any day. I'm free every single day. You just let me know. I'll work around your schedule. I've literally seen those text messages. Don't fucking say that. I don't care if you think that he is so insanely amazing. I want you to also remember the view of a duck, okay? What is a duck to the public up here above water? Acting like they are calm, cool, collected. Underneath, blah, 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 flippers are going like crazy. That is you, okay? That was me when I first met Troy. When I first met him, my flippers were going crazy in more than one sense of the word, okay? But up top, I was cool, calm, collected. I'm not saying that I didn't say I didn't care or I was acting like I didn't care, but I was like, oh yeah, but underneath, I was like, I'm going to marry this dude. When he asks you when you're available, okay, say something like, on Thursday, I have tennis, and on Friday, I'm going to see blah, blah movie with my best friend. I'm so excited, but I'm available on Saturday if you are, or I'm free on Saturday. That is what you say. That says that you have your own life, your own interests, and there is no fucking way that that dude is going to trump your tennis practice or the movie with your best friend. He is nowhere near having earned that privilege to be above those things. This is where women, I feel like, get it so wrong so fast. Your mentality when you are dating is, I am not here to be chosen. I am here to decide. I'm here to decide if I like you, if you're worth my time, if I would put you above my tennis practice. You are deciding. You're not walking into a date or walking into a conversation, walking into a relationship, hoping that he likes you. You are trying to decide and figure out if you like him. You are not down here being pick me, choose me, choose me. No, you are up here and you are like, who deserves to be up here with me? That's it. Another thing I want you to do is to observe his behavior and his actions, not his words, okay? A doormat woman feels like they can change someone with their words. Newsflash, men probably hear, I'm pulling this stat out of my ass, but they probably hear like 1/4 of what you're fucking saying, especially if you are overly emotional. And as someone who is very emotional, I cry literally every day. But when I was dating, especially when I was dating Troy, I was so emotionally in control. And that shows power. Power in a way that like I was so secure and I had standards and I wasn't someone who was going to put up with any level of bullshit. Because men, I love you, but sometimes you're so fucking immature and you're like children sometimes and toddlers. And I feel like you need a woman to like, I don't know. They're just so fucking... Anyway, let's talk about another example, okay? Seen this before many times. A man texts you same day, whatever, to cancel the date that's tonight, okay? Hey, I'm really busy with work, gotta cancel, so sorry. What he's used to is literally text messages that I have seen that's like, oh, I was waiting all week for this date. I can't wait to meet you, or I can't wait to see you again. When can we reschedule? Or worse, I have seen this and I almost threw up. It's okay. We can push the date back. When do you get out of work? Or when are you finished? Fuck no. Stop. Do not ever say that. If you've said that before, I want you to erase it from your memory. You've never said it before and you are never ever going to say that again. Okay? Instead, you are going to respond with the simple, shortest, nicest, but direct response of no problem, exclamation point, XO. That's it. Maybe no worries with a, like the, you know, the smiley face with the hearts around it. Like, no worries. I don't give a fuck. Okay? This is not being mean, but you canceling a date does not affect my emotions. It does not affect how I feel about myself. Most importantly, it does not affect the rest of my day. I don't really give a fuck, especially if this is new. And even if you've been dating for a little bit of time, showing that, he's going to see that text message and say, fuck, I have no emotional control over her. She is her own woman. She is strong. She is sure of who she is. She is secure. That's what's going to happen. And then when you say that, I can almost guarantee, again, because I've seen it happen so many times, is he's going to respond with something that's like, but when can we reschedule? I would love to see you. I would love to see you. What day are you free? That's when you respond with, I have tennis this day. I have Mahjong. What's that new fucking tile game everyone's playing? But I'm free Saturday. That's what you respond with, okay? I am not rearranging plans. I am not doing something that I don't want to do because of you. What is he used to? What is he expecting? What is he almost hoping, okay? Because when he gets a response that's a paragraph long and overly emotional, he's like, fuck yeah, I've got her. She cares, AKA I can easily manipulate her. Okay, we're going to talk about manipulation in a little bit. This also goes for when you're in a relationship. I'm going to tell you the story of when I first kind of scared Troy. He still talks about this to this day. He was like, that was honestly terrifying. And that's good. One thing I want everyone to remember is when to be sweet and when to be scary. There is a difference. I'm not talking scary, mean, whatever, but sweet. I am sweet as can be. I am so nice. I am so respectful. I am so kind, but I am also scary. I am terrifying, as Troy says, okay? For a reason. Tell you in a sec. But let's talk about if there's any sort of argument, disagreement, or God forbid, a line is crossed, okay? And this story with Troy is very juvenile, if you will, as far as crossing a line. But again, what is he used to? Paragraphs of explaining, crying, emotional response, blah, blah, blah. Me? Calm. Not afraid to lose him. I am regulated. I am confident. I am literally in control of my emotions, okay? So there was this Troy and I talking back and forth, right? Like blah, blah, blah. I'm actually on a plane to Hawaii at this time. We are very, very new to dating, but very much already in love, like head over heels, right? It was amazing. But we're like going back and forth, and I don't even remember the exact scenario, Troy would, but we were talking about social media, and he was like, we were like joking back and forth and blah, blah, blah. And he obviously like knew what I did for a living. And he said something along the lines of almost like making fun of like bikini models or something, like influencers who are just, he said something, and I let the text that he sent sit there I read it, and I was like, I don't like that. And I could see him type stop, because the conversation was like going back and forth, and then it just halted. I responded with, this is not a conversation I want to engage in anymore, or something so insanely short like that. And he said that when he read that, he was like out at the bar watching football or something with his friends. And he's like, the phone almost fell out of my hands. Like I had to walk out of the bar and figure out the fucking text message that I was going to send. He was like, I couldn't call you because you were on a plane. And literally the roles reversed. He sent this long paragraph. I am so sorry. I did not mean any offense. Like that's not what I was, blah, 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 all that. And I just responded and I said, no worries, or something with like a smiley face with the hearts. I got my point across. And then he like apologized again. I didn't respond. And then like he said something else later that night. And I responded like nothing was wrong. Because why? Us getting in a little bit of a tiff does not ruin any of my day. It does not ruin my emotions. I'm in Hawaii. I'm having a great time. And it was just such a pure example of, if you are in control, you aren't overly emotional, you aren't over explaining yourself, but you are setting a boundary and putting your foot down, and that's when you win. The opposite is also true. If I was to respond with some, oh, blah, 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 I don't know how that would have gone. Obviously, Troy's an extremely high quality, high value man. So I feel like he would have honestly been like, hey, I'm really sorry. But I nipped it in the butt so fast, and he still talks about it being terrifying. So it obviously worked. A very important thing that I want to make sure that is touched on, and if you need to send this to someone, because you don't feel comfortable saying it yourself, send along. But you know the song, Girls Just Want to Have Fun. I'm going to sing for a minute, so put your earmuffs on. But when it says, some boys take a beautiful girl and hide her away from the rest of the world, that is literally what I have seen. I have chills. I have seen that happen so many times, okay? This is a little bit of love bombing, a little bit of narcissism, and isolation manipulation. I have kind of been there, but I have seen this happen so many times. So what this is, okay, if you don't know what love bombing is, it's when something feels maybe a little too good to be true, right? Like you meet this guy, he's great. And then and I'm not saying this verbatim, I know people who have said, I love you on the first date and like gone head over heels and it's turned out amazing. And that's great. Okay. These are different scenarios. But when a guy is just like all fucking in, over the top, saying almost everything, just being over the top a little too soon, or a little bit sooner than like any mature, high quality man would be, okay? When I think of a love bomber narcissist, someone who wants to isolate you, is someone who is doing it from a very manipulative or immature sense, okay? So if you are starting to like talk to a guy, blah, 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 and he is making crazy plans with you, he is saying that he wants to like marry you, have children with you, I want you to really sit and think, is this genuine or does this not make sense? Because if it doesn't make sense with what he knows about you, what you guys have done, what you've talked about, what you've discussed, like if you haven't discussed like politics, for example, or how you would raise children, and a guy is saying that he can't wait to marry you, he loves you, and that he wants you to raise his children, that is a red flag, in my opinion. That is fucking weird and that is not normal, okay? High quality, high value man is not going to almost like pressure you like that. He's not going to want to scare you away. Before I get into this, let me also say, if you feel like a man doesn't like you, he doesn't like you. Okay. If you feel like he is looking for other options or that he's blowing you off or that you're not like first on his roster, let's say, it's because you're not. A high quality, high standard man who likes you, who wants to be in a relationship with you, will never let you think that you aren't up here. And again, make sure you're hearing high quality, high value man is never going to let you think that. If you've got some dusty mofo and you are first on his roster, as we'll say, he's going to be an asshole and a jerk and push your buttons because he's a dusty mofo, right? So let's make sure we're quantifying who this is. But almost 5 years into my relationship with Troy, I have never, ever once felt that he didn't like me or love me or want to be in a relationship with me or want to see me again, or I wasn't his top choice. Now, obviously, when we were first freshly dating, did I feel like he wanted to marry me? He was obsessed with me. He wanted to build a life and I was his everything? No. Do I feel that now? Yes. So different parts of different relationships. But if you feel like he doesn't like you, he doesn't. He's either a dusty mofo who's playing games with you, who you don't want to be with, or he's maybe a high value man who just doesn't like you. That doesn't mean that you are not a high value, incredible woman, someone's dream girl, someone who someone literally dreams about, can't wait to be with. That does not mean that, okay? This is really hard, I think, for women to understand or to realize or to think like when they are in the heat of the moment of like dating someone, they're so excited, is why would you want to convince someone to like you or convince someone to see you again or that you're worthy of their time or worthy of their love and attention? I have said this so many times to friends, to you guys in DMs. When you are new in a relationship, that is when someone is on their best behavior, let's say, okay? I'm not saying that as the relationship goes on, that they get worse behavior, blah, blah, blah. But you start to see like the quote worst parts of them, right? Because that's just life and that's being a life partner to someone, blah, blah, blah. But in the beginning, if he likes you and cares about you, he's going to be on his best behavior. So if his best behavior is not good enough for you, then it's not good enough for you, okay? And also remember, when we're talking about flaws, sometimes you've got to recognize the weight of the flaw to you, okay? This does not matter what anybody else thinks except for you, right? I was talking to someone the other day and she was like, oh, well, I really like this guy. He has X, Y, and Z, and I feel like, how do you feel after you talk to him? How do you feel after you're with him? Do you feel up? Do you feel down? Do you feel insecure? Do you feel anxious? Or do you feel the opposite, right? And she's like, I feel great, blah, blah, blah. And she said, but he, on his days off, he sleeps in till noon and then he picks up the video games and he doesn't like start doing anything till like 2 p.m. I really don't like that. I love the more, blah, blah, blah. I said to her, it doesn't matter what I think, but to give you my opinion, I wouldn't like that either. It doesn't mean the dude's a bad dude, but I wouldn't like that. I would find that unattractive because it's my opinion and I am looking for my life partner, right? I wouldn't want that. So to me, that flaw, in our opinion, would carry a little bit more weight than maybe someone else. Maybe someone else doesn't care about that. So if someone else doesn't care about that, don't let them convince you not to care about it. Because again, it's like, why would you want to be with someone who you have to convince to like you, convince to want to hang out with you, blah, blah, blah. But also, why would you want to be with someone who maybe their natural thing that they want to do is just something that you don't want to do? Doesn't mean that the dude's bad. Anyway, that was a tangent. So let's go back to the whole like love bombing thing, okay? There are men I'm thinking of a very specific situation. That's all I'll say. There are men who will intentionally try to isolate their girl, okay? They will say that they have outgrown their friends are stupid, you're better than them, you don't need them, no, don't hang out with them, hang out with me, blah, blah, blah. They might say the same about your family. They might say the same about your coworkers. They're trying to isolate you, okay? So that they can manipulate you. And obviously there's different realms of this on the spectrum of it, but it sometimes can be so deep and dark that it's literally emotional abuse. And a lot of women get in this. They don't realize that they're in it. And it's so fucked up. And these dusty dudes are just, they know what they're doing. It's a manipulation tactic so that that girl doesn't have anyone to run and cry to. That girl doesn't have anyone to bounce like, hey, is this weird? She feels isolated. She's probably cut off her friends, cut off her family, whatever. So that guy has complete emotional control over her. Now that guy is all that she has, right? Here's some big sister advice, and this has happened to me. If you have best friends, they've known you for years, they've known you for decades, whatever it is, family, if they are saying, hey, I just say this because I love you. I don't like this about this. He treats you like this. He said this to you. This happened. You're making excuses for this behavior. I want you to remember that your friend has no malicious intent behind that because they are your friend. They're actually risking, in this scenario, you cutting them off completely, but they love you so much that they are pointing out that red flag, okay? Dusty motherfucker who has love bombed you into thinking that you belong with him has maybe malicious intent by saying bad things about your friends and family. Do you see the difference? Your friends love you. They care about you. There's nothing honestly good that they can gain by having this crucial conversation with you. And I had some of my best friends tell me, Gretch, this is fucking weird that he says this, that he did this. I did not like his vibe. I can't, like, this is weird. And I was not in this serious and deep of a scenario, but I definitely was love bombed and a little bit like blinded by this, right? I wasn't in so deep, but it definitely was something where I listened to them and I was like, maybe, I don't know. And then it came out to be 1000% true and they were right. And I should have believed them the first time that they said it, right? So if somebody sent this episode to you and said, hey, I want you to fast forward to this part, I want you to listen to this, it's because they love you. And I want you to really try to unemotionally peel back the layers and be like a bird's eye view looking down at your relationship. Is it something where you are being love bombed and you are being isolated and you are being convinced that everyone else is out to get you and he is the only safe place for you? Because there are so many scenarios where that happens and you're being manipulated and the person who sent you this loves you and cares about you and it's just not good. So maybe just something to think about. And let me tell you, I have literally met some of these people in like friends of friends, whatever relationships. The dude, always a dusty mofo. Never a high quality man. I know I've talked like a lot of smack about men, but there are actually so many incredible, amazing men out there who are normal in this sense. They are looking for a normal, stable, emotionally in control, secure woman to build a life with, to raise a family with, whatever. They're not going to do that to you. So anyway, I have the summary from all of the chapters of why men love bitches. And I feel like we've touched on a lot of them, but I feel like these are just quick fire summaries that are good. 1, don't put him on a pedestal. We didn't talk about this too much, but take this lightly, But especially when you're newly dating someone, men don't need, nor do they necessarily deserve, they haven't earned, you like praising them or like laughing at their dumb motherfucking jokes. Like, I'm not saying you need to be mean and be like, ugh, but you don't need to be overly nice. You don't need to be overly complimentary. If you're on a date with them, if you're spending time with them, well, you had tennis and then you went to the movies with your friends and okay, my Saturday night I'll spend with you. That's saying enough, okay? Now, when you get into a relationship, obviously, appreciation, words of affirmation, all of that is very important. But in the beginning, don't put him on a pedestal. This isn't every man, but a lot of men think that they're superior anyway. So they have like this big ego and like this God complex sometimes. When you go on a date with them, that's good enough. Do you know how much makeup costs? I always want to say this to a man, but I want to be like, you're welcome. Do you know how much this outfit costs? Do you know how much time it took to do my makeup? Do you know how much my makeup costs? It costs more than your entire fucking outfit. Like, you're welcome for being here. That's a pedestal enough, okay? The fact that you said yes and that you're there, that's the only compliment that he needs at that very time. Number 2, independence is magnetic. Obviously, keep your own life. Okay. We are not throwing our life away. We are not changing our habits. We are not changing who we literally are, what we love to do for him. If you have a TV show that you love to watch every Tuesday, no, you are not missing it. You are at home. Maybe he can come over if we're at that point yet, and watch it with you, but that is what you love. You are not changing for him. A man should add to your life. He is not your whole life. And a quality, high value man does not want someone, this is my opinion, who they feel like they have to take care of in that sense, or like entertain, or like give them a life, okay? In my opinion, yes, men love to pursue and they love to take care of, sure, in some ways, but I don't think that any high value man wants like this insecure girl who is walked all over and like doesn't have any interests of their own, because I would assume that that guy is like, fuck, I'm going to have to like entertain this girl because she doesn't have any hobbies or interests of her own. And again, you don't need to have like 85 interests, but you do have to have maybe one friend that you like to hang out with, a dog that you like to go to the dog, I can't say that word loud, dog park with. You have a favorite TV show, you have a book club, you have Bible study, whatever. You got to have your own shit. And that's one of the biggest things that I've always talked about on my Instagram is like when people were like, oh, Gretchen, like, how do you you were 30 and single and then you found this amazing man, blah, blah. Why did that happen? Or why do you think that was? I'm like, I literally became obsessed with my own life and myself in the sense of like, I wanted to be the best version of myself. I wanted to be so happy in my life because then I was the least amount of desperate that I could ever be because I loved everything in my life. And if a man came in, I was like, he's got to be so fucking high up here to match the level of how much I love my life to let him in. I wasn't just going to let some dusty mofo come in and ruin my fucking life, right? Like, I loved myself. I loved what I stood for. I loved what I was doing on the weekends. I loved what I was focused on. And that is attractive to a high quality man or woman, right? Number 3, be warm but not overly available. Okay. Kindness and boundaries is attractive. Constantly being available screams you're desperate. Okay. You're warm and you're nice, but you are not always available. Number 4, actions over words. I feel like we've touched on this, but a guy can fucking say anything, okay? Men think with one of their 2 heads, if you know what I mean. I feel like the second head that they think with is their brain. A guy yapping and saying everything, that's right, well, let's observe his behavior and his actions, okay? How does he treat other people around you? How is he treating the waitress? If you sense that something is off, it's off, okay? If he's treating other people poorly, he's going to treat you poorly. I can literally guarantee it. Another one, mystery fuels attraction. You don't need to reveal everything at once. This was a challenge for myself as a yapper, an oversharer, but it's literally like dating is sometimes a skill. to be honest. It's something that you do need to consciously think about. And I know that especially in the movie, or you'll see this in the movie if you watch it, he's just not that into you. There are a lot of females who are like, I don't want to play games. Like, I want to tell him exactly how I feel and I love him. So I told him and blah, blah, blah. It's like, honey, that's great. Tell your fucking girlfriends. Write it in your diary, okay? Don't tell a man that. There is an art of communication. There is an art of dating, okay? And it's not that. That's great that you feel that way. Don't say it out loud, please. I'll give you my phone number and you can call me and tell me that instead of him, please. Again, the duck. Flippers are flapping underneath, okay? You're in love. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Up top, cool, calm, collected. You are a duck. You are cool. Number 6, set clear boundaries and enforce them. We already discussed this. Say no without guilt. No, don't negotiate your standards. He's trying to convince you to skip tennis. Fuck no. I've been going to tennis for 10 years. Fuck no, am I skipping that? Did I tell you guys I'm picking up tennis this year? I'm so excited. Men test limits. Enforcing boundaries builds respect. I cannot tell you how. I think if you are a woman, you know that men, they just love to push the fucking boundary. They just love to push a button. I don't know why. It's so fucking annoying. 7, don't chase. This is where it becomes a little bit of like a game. And I know, whatever. The person who cares less holds more power. It's just the truth, okay? Again, you're crying, saying, I love you so much, I can't wait, blah, blah, blah. He is like, fuck yeah, I own this bitch, to be honest. You're not going to do that, okay? You are so much more self-respecting than that. Number 8, all ties it together. Emotional control is power. Don't overreact, beg, or dramatize. I can't say that word. Obviously, we are not begging, okay? We are not convincing someone to like us, convincing someone. If you go on a date with someone and he doesn't at the end of the date or text you when he gets home or the next morning, ask, when can he see you again? Maybe he doesn't like you. Maybe he doesn't want to see you again. You're not going to fucking text him and ask, when can I see you again? I had so much fun, blah, blah, blah. A man at his core wants to pursue. He wants to win. They're hunters, right? Like, I know I have kind of like an unconventional life as far as like work goes with my husband, stay-at-home dad, runs the businesses. Yes. But at the core of our marriage, I truly do believe there are masculine roles and feminine roles. I do not want to be in my masculine in our relationship. I'm in my masculine with my career, right? But in our relationship, he pursues me. He is the protector. He is the hunter. I know that maybe people will disagree and that's fine, but that is his role, in my opinion, not mine. I don't want to do that. And that's just, in my opinion, like the man's role. If you disagree, that's all right. Calm confidence signals high self-worth. Men feel safer and more drawn to emotional stability. 1000%. Okay, and then the last one, love should be complementary, not sacrificial, okay? Don't abandon yourself to keep a relationship, please. We've discussed that. Absolutely not. The right relationship fits your life. It doesn't consume it. I don't know how old you are, but in my opinion, at any age, we are not crying over men. We are not letting it consume our life, okay? There's things that we can learn from relationships, learn from past mistakes, 1000%. But if you feel like your relationship, especially like newly dating, is consuming your life, as in you lose all other interests, or you're just like trying to figure out if he likes you, when are you going to see him again, all that kind of shit. I know that that's part of like the newness of dating. You're like staring at your phone. You're like, oh my gosh, I hope he texts me back. Totally normal, like totally normal. But you're not desperate for his attention and his time because you already have such a full fucking life that you love so much that if it doesn't work out with him, yeah, you can be sad and it sucks and maybe you cry because you really liked him, but your life is not over. You are not someone's dream girl. There is not someone out there just waiting to meet you and fall in love with you. Like, I truly believe that is just so true for every single woman. I think that women are just, this says, Bottom line, men don't fall in love with women who try harder. They fall in love with women who know their worth and do not negotiate it. I hope that this was somewhat helpful. I hope that this lands. I know that there are people who need to hear it because I cannot tell you, especially back when I was freshly dating Troy, especially when I was single, I was having these conversations all the time with you guys in my DMs. And what I love about so many of the people in my community is I feel like we've grown up together. So I feel like so many of us are the same age, but I also feel like I have a large percentage of people who are maybe a little bit younger than me, or maybe the same age, but not married yet, or still dating, or whatever. So let this be a little bit of big sister advice, if you will. I also have a large percentage of people who are older than me. And if you're older than me and you're not married, then I've already had an episode about that on why not settling is the most important decision that you can make in your life, right? So if you need to go listen to that, 1000%. I feel like this isn't talked about enough and it's not taken seriously enough. But anyway, I hope this was helpful and I love you guys. Oh, I'm supposed to say, if you could subscribe to my YouTube, love you forever. If you could leave me a review, love you forever even more. You can follow me on Instagram, GB Clark. You can follow me on the TikTok, GB Clark _. Someone has GB Clark, which is just so fucking annoying. Anyway, I think this will be released when we're in like the heat of the storm. So hope everyone is staying safe. Maybe you're listening to this if you're like severely bored. I love y'all. See you soon. Mwah.